Welcome to round one of the 2023 SRAM Downhill Southeast Series. We're in Sequatchie, Tennessee at the Trials Training Center to kick things off. My name is Rich Moore, known around these parts as Semi-Cindy, and I'll be your host for this race replay show brought to you by SRAM. This race marks the start of the 8th season at a venue which hosted our very first Downhill Southeast back in 2016. It was started as a backyard training event for the region's pro downhill racers to tune their skills, has evolved into a hotbed for amateur and pro downhill racers alike to compete amongst huge fields across all ages and skill levels. This year's Downhill Southeast Series features 7 rounds between March and August, spanning the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic's most iconic racing venues. The journey begins this weekend as our pro women and pro men's field vie for the coveted series championship. You can follow the entire season right here on the SRAM Race Replay Show. So get ready to drop in for our racers' first crack at claiming a piece of Downhill Southeast glory here at the Trials Training Center. Before our racers get on course here, we had a chance to catch up with our 2022 champions, Abby Ronka and Jake Kahn. Abby, Jake, welcome to round one of the Downhill Southeast 2023 season here at TTC, Trials Training Center. This is year 8 for Downhill Southeast, and it's going to be a big year. We got 7 full rounds, and excited to see our returning overall champions back this year.
Good to be back. Excited to try again.
Thank you. Yeah, very excited.
Abby, you had your first Downhill Southeast season last year racing in the pro women's category.
Yep.
How do you feel coming into round number 1 this year?
I feel good. I mean, I feel nervous as always because it is only my second year racing a Downhill Southeast, so like new places, new people, but it's really fun and I'm like feeling good. I had a good off season, so I'm really excited. It's more excited than anything.
You had some great moments last year's season. You took a 2nd place finish at Snowshoe, and you took the win at Beach. What were your favorite moments from the 2022 season?
I think just the fact that I was racing at new mountains and just racing against new people, it was like the best part because, I don't know, I feel like progressing, just going to new places and like getting pushed by new racers was just so sick, and that was just so fun.
Jake, you've been racing for quite a while, starting in the junior categories. What is it about the Downhill Southeast that keeps you hungry for more racing in 2023?
I think what I love the most about Downhill Southeast is it's such a fun, laid-back environment, but at the same time, the competition is stiff, and there's World Cup riders at every round, and you really get to push yourself and see where you are, benchmark yourself against the competition, and getting to do that at a laid-back event is just the best.
So last year, you came really close to taking the win at Massanutten with a 2nd place finish. What race would mean the most for a win for you this year?
So that's a tough one for me. I work and live at Windrock, and getting the win there and home soil would feel really good, but I love Massanutten, I always have, and being so close to that win last year, I'd really like to get it done there too. So both of those are definitely big targets on my schedule this year.
So this is a relatively newer version of this track here at TTC. Last year was a complete mutter here.
Just above that big hole. Oh no, a little bit loose right there.
Things got a little dicey, especially in those S-berms.
Oh no.
But so far, we've got great weather. The track is running primo right now, but there's rain in the forecast. So I want to hear from both of you, and we'll start with you, Abby. How do you think your approach is going to change to this track if we do get the precipitation that is in the forecast?
I mean, definitely a little bit more nerves, but I'm going to be more focused on line choice because there are some like random routes up there that can definitely get you. So I feel like I'll just be more focused on my lines and just being cautious and not trying to over push in sections where I could kind of lose it. Yeah, basically just going to probably stay a little more cautious, check it out in the morning, seeing what actually did change.
How about you, Jake?
I like to take the races one day at a time, and I'm glad that we have one day at least on the clock. We get to push in the dry, and we'll see. It's going to rain tomorrow. There's no question about that anymore. So we'll see what it looks like tomorrow, and just ride the track the best we can. Try not to be too timid and scared of the wet. And I get a lot of wet riding in over at Windrock, and just trying to slide out.
I look forward to seeing both of you out for seeding, and yeah, see you up on the hill here shortly. Good luck to you both.
Thank you.
As Abby and Jake prepare to get back between the tape, let's take a close look at the track for race number 1. We've got Troy Roberts back on the show here to give us a rundown and some updates from last season. Well, Troy, we're back here in your home turf. In fact, your side yard is where the start gate is for this race. And this fresh new version of the track that got finalized last year for last year's race. Yes. Looks like we've seen some tweaks from last year. Looks like you've done a little work since then. Tell us a little bit about the track, the elevation, about how long it is, and some of the updates you've made to it.
Roughly 850 in elevation, around 0.8, just under a mile in length. Starting at the top, and a little rock garden up top. That gave a lot of problems last year. I did a lot of work on it, and this year, oddly enough, it seems to be the flat spot on the course that's taken the most carnage of people, I guess, oddly enough. So we smoothed that out a little bit, and we've just pulling big rocks out here and there, just general upkeep, man, just trying to keep it going. Getting down to the cliff and the tree split. The run into that after the race from last year, through all the rain, moisture, all that, kept eroding down the rock, and you physically couldn't get a bicycle through that gap anymore without just hitting a crank or doing some kind of weird pump. So got some material down there, fixed that up, and working great. Formed new lines out of it, so everything's running a lot smoother through there, a lot less crashing and people hitting the tree or the cliff.
How about those S-berms?
Those are getting good and packed in.
Yeah.
Got a couple new lines that I guess you've seen coming down. Made a new run in for the road gap, which we doctored on quite a bit, and that thing's butter smooth now. A lot more speed going into the road gap, no turn just before the road gap.
Yeah.
Added some the wood plank across the top to shorten the gap just a little bit, and cleared the landing out quite a bit, cutting a few trees and stuff out so people don't get wadded up in that stuff. But
yeah.
Other than that, we haven't. Just a few of us just been coming up here riding, man, and just doing a little bit of work. Work half a day, ride the rest of the day, and it's turned out pretty good to make minimal work to the trails, so we can come out and have all these people compound out on it. Seems to be holding up really well too.
Yeah, I was really impressed. I took one quick run down here just about an hour ago, and all those tweaks you've made have really brought the whole thing together. It's become a proper track. It's definitely one of my favorites I've ridden out here, and it sounds like everyone else feels much the same.
Yeah.
And so it's you've done a lot of awesome work out here. We greatly appreciate it.
Man, thank you. I love this stuff, dude. I love this stuff.
All right, so Troy, the big buzz that I'm hearing around down here at the corral is sounds like some wet weather's coming in.
It definitely is.
Have you been looking at the forecast?
Yes, a little bit.
Tell us a little bit about what we might expect tomorrow.
I think we've ridden this thing enough, especially after this weekend as well, that it stays pretty solid.
Yeah.
It's here. So especially up top in the steeps where it's a little rockier, it's gonna be a lot different than last year as far as the trail being able to take the weather. I think it's gonna be really good, actually. It rained here Thursday quite a bit, and then for Friday practice, it's perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect. So I think it's gonna be fine, man. As long as we don't come nothing horrendous, I think we'll be fine. I think it'll make for great racing, actually.
Yeah,
be great. 2 days of perfect dry trail, and then finalize it with this spectator aspect. It's great.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it doesn't seem like it's going to be the peanut butter we saw last year,
Yeah.
but maybe a little slick here and there.
Yeah, down toward the bottom, I think we'll still run into some of that stuff, but I think we'll be fine up top. I think it'll be good.
Yeah. All right. I like your optimism. Well, we appreciate all the work you've done out here. It's made for an incredible venue and for years now, and it's just gotten better.
I love this stuff.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I love this stuff. I live for this stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Yeah,
like,
man.
thank you for having me in my yard. I'm like, thank you for coming here, man. My kids love it. My wife loves it. So it's all working out.
Very nice. Well, it sounds like this track is running blazing fast after all the updates that Troy and the crew made. So let's hand it off to Trill Will so we can take a look at the results from seeding.
Yesterday's seeding runs took place under completely different conditions than we're seeing today for race day. Shell Peugeot came out on top for the pro women with a 247.56. Xana Logar was in second with a 248.63, less than a second back of Peugeot. And Abigail Ronka, our defending 2022 series champion, seated in third with a 254. It's going to be interesting to see how times compare, knowing that we've got completely different conditions on race day. And what better place to start off our pro women than our 2022 series champ Abby Ronka out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Put down a 254 in qualifying yesterday. She's riding for the Gravity Academy this year and hoping to pick up right where she left off in the 2022 season, and that was with a win at Beach Mountain for our final round. Very aggressive out of the start gate, and that's really the only place you need pedals here on the TTC track. Very quickly becomes much steeper. It's the first look we're going to have of the Cumberland Cliffs section. Becoming a classic section here on the Trials Training Center track. So steep right there into the tight left-hander, and Abby's looking great here on this run. Split number 1 going right there, and it's a 1:14.53. Pretty close to her pace from yesterday, actually, and looking great there, getting backside on that big rock slab. It's almost deja vu from what we saw here last year with conditions at the Trials Training Center. And she was on the podium here last year. Looking for a repeat performance. A little bit loose there in the top corner, those steep back-to-back-to-back berms. Oh, and another loose moment there on the wet route, safely across the road gap. And it's a 2:16.48, so that's going to be 7 seconds back of the top seating time from yesterday, but that's what we expected, and it looks like an amazing run here so far for Ronka with just a couple corners to go to the finish. Well, here's Abby Ronka. Nice effort there on the flat section. What will the time tell? It's a 2:56. So 17 seconds on top of the fast time right now with 2 more riders remaining. Abby looking down at the bike, shaking the head. I think she's happy with that one on a day like today, as Xana Logar will be our next rider. Also riding for the Gravity Academy, a 2:48 was Xana's time. And Xana, no stranger to the podium here at Trials Training Center, was second here in 2022. Also third overall in our series with another podium finish at Beach Mountain. I love the sounds of the wet track. You can hear the brakes squealing, just trying to get some traction on those slippery rotors. And Xana's a rider who just spends an incredible amount of time on her bike, so you know she rides in all different conditions, races in all disciplines. Looking good there on the tight left-hander out of the Cumberland Cliffs. And she's going to be 4 seconds back of Ronka with just about a minute and a half of track left. So yeah, plenty of track to do something with here for Xana at round number 1. Yeah, by this point in the run, racers are going to have a nice feel for the conditions. Maybe be able to let those brakes open up a little bit more now that they've got a little dirt under their tires as Logar dives into the steep and deep berms. It's going to be a nice run through there, tidy. Yeah, a section where you can really open it up. Logar smooth over the road gap, but she's lost more time. 8.9 back on our defending series champ. Nice setup on the outside line right there by Xana. So yeah, don't see anything on my screen that really looks like she's lost that much time, but you can just be slipping time little bit by little bit in every section as Logar powers to the finish. And she'll end up 9 seconds back, a 3:05 for the Gravity Academy racer. That'll put her into second place. With 1 rider to go, our top qualifier, Shell Peugeot at Oliver Springs, Tennessee, qualified with a 2:47 yesterday, riding for Propane Bicycles this year. Shell was our winner here in 2022. She also went 3 for 4 at Downhill Southeast races that she entered last year, also winning at Massanutten and Mountain Creek. Only had a little bit of time on this new Propane bike so far, so Shell still trying to feel it out. Know she's really excited about how this bike has been working thus far with some training laps in at Windrock. Great pace down there into the steeps, looking very controlled. A little bit of an inside line on that bridge too. Oh, and noticeably carrying good speed out of that left-hander. Surely, no, it's back. I thought surely that was going to be green. So it's 1.31 into the red for Shell. Let's see if she can find some more pace now. Things continuing to be steep all down this track. Barely any pedals. You're not going to see, more than maybe 10, 15 pedal strokes from any of these racers today. Plenty of gravity here at the Trials Training Center. Shell safely through those turns. We saw some wild lines there last year. A little bit of modified course tape this year to keep an even playing field. As Shell inside on the road gap. She's bled just a little bit more time, 1.96 into the red. So still very much in touch, but not much track between Shell and the bottom. Ronka looking to start this one off with a bang. Oh, and Shell's laying down the power. What will the time tell? It was 2 seconds back at split number 2. Shell crosses the line, and she will go second at 2:59.06, 2.93 back of Abby Ronka, who will take the win here at the Trials Training Center, picking up right where she left off at Beach Mountain. Abby Ronka on top of the podium there. Shell Peugeot in second, and Xana Logar will be in third. Seating results for our pro men from a sunny and dry seating session on Saturday. It was Nico Mullally who was on top by almost 3 seconds over Chris Grice from Generation Specialized. Grice put down a 2:19.88 to keep Mullally within striking distance, and Collier Key, who jumped up to the pro ranks this year after taking the overall in our 16 and under Cat 1s last year. He was in third place with a 2:21.94. Dylan Conti in fourth, coming down from the Northeast. And Vlad Cheroublay rounding out our top 5 with a 2:24.16. Well, we're going to take a look at our hot seat time. It's Jack Peterson out of Silverthorne, Colorado. Does his wintering in Windrock, Tennessee, which is why the guy rips so hard in these conditions. Had some problems in seating, but as you can see, Jack the Ripper came to race today at round number 1 of the Downhill Southeast. Love to watch this guy on Instagram, putting out some great content, riding all the trails at Windrock Bike Park, especially the ones that I don't even want to ride. I enjoy watching Jack riding them, and love watching him ride this track too. Oh my goodness, Jack is just letting her go. Heater of a run put down by Peterson. Not sure what happened to him in seating. We all know the guy can ride. He had a podium finish at Windrock last year in Downhill Southeast. We'll see what the top 8 can do against that run from Peterson as Cooper Rodriguez gets us started off from Cary, North Carolina. He put down a 2:25.6 yesterday, good enough to put him into 8th. Cooper was at 4 of our Downhill Southeast rounds in 2022. His best finish was 7th place in Massanutten. You can find this guy digging on the trails at Windrock. He's also doing some trail building at other spots around the region. Helped build that Hollywood line down at Big Creek in Georgia. So, yeah, the guy's good on the bike. He's good on the tools as well. Love the pace right there. It's going to be interesting to see how folks attack that section as we run through the pro men. Those breaking points so crucial in these technical top bits. And it'll go 106.02 at split number 1. So a ways back on Jack Peterson. We just saw in Jack, he unleashed a beast of a run. So here's Rodriguez into that steep and deep corner section. So fun to watch these folks ride it. And I'm actually a fan that straight line got taped off. We get to see folks hit the corners. That's what it's all about. Jump for show and corner for dough, and he's made up some time. 7.41 now is the deficit to Peterson. Oh, and a gap right there. Very confident move right there from Rodriguez.
Here comes Cooper Rodriguez.
Well, we'll see what the time tells for Cooper when he crosses the finish line. A ways back on Jack Peterson, but he'll go second place. So it's a 2:36.71 for Cooper. 7 more riders left in our order here today at the Trials Training Center. There's David Kahn. Qualified with a 2:25.29 out of Etowah, North Carolina. Doing it for Ride Canoga, Ride Rock Creek, and of course, Danny's Cycles. Kahn's out here on the enduro bike, which is what you'll always see him on. So, you know, I'm not going to act like I'm surprised, and not surprised to see him mixing it up in the top 10 in qualifying either. Kahn's going to be super strong on these penalty sections. He's a connoisseur of big dumb rides in Pisgah National Forest. Also a connoisseur of gravity in any and all form as he dives in right there. Wow, on the corner knobs there from Khan. So the Cumberland Cliffs looking like they are treating Khan well up top, and he's just 4.2 back, so that's good. That is right there with a storming run from Peterson. Nice outside setup there from Khan. So we've got some sections with a lot of line choice, some sections where we'll see a lot of folks riding the same line. This is going to be one of those where everyone's on the same line. Can you hit the corners faster than the other guys? That's really what that section's all about. Khan's out of there with pace. Carrying some nice pace over this road gap as well. And so he's dropped back 7.2 now, the deficit for Khan. Definitely going to be tough to make it up in these corners at the bottom of the track. Oh, but Khan looking quick there on the left-hander.
Here comes David Kahn.
Well, what can Khan do as he puts down some power heading towards the finish line around number 1 of the SRAM Downhill Southeast. Khan breaks the beam with a 2:30.01. He's going to be 8 seconds back. That puts him just in front of Cooper Rodriguez into second place. Well, look there. It is Ronnie Vance out of Base, Virginia. Ronnie's all smiles. Got the fresh bike, the fresh hand-up kit here for the 2023 SRAM Downhill Southeast season. And he was smiling after his seeding round. He was in 6th place. Only able to do 3 of the Downhill Southeast in 2022, but he had 2 top 5s. See what Ronnie can do to add to his Downhill Southeast results collection. Oh, we just lost a rock there on the Cumberland Cliffs. Not surprising. That's why we got so many big rocks on this track. They're all just trundling down from those cliffs over the centuries. So Vance has a custom wrap on his bike for 2023. Love to see that, and the time's looking good. So Vance is right there. He's 5.97 back on Peterson. He's got the fork lowers to match, looking like a Santa Cruz V10. So what can Ronnie do here through these corners? If Ronnie Vance is anything, he's loose. All right, so he's tidy right there. That was a little conservative, I will say, from Ronnie Vance. One of those days with unpredictable conditions, though, so maybe Ronnie doesn't exactly know what to expect out here. 11.9 seconds back, so losing some more time to Jack Peterson. It's been a little while since these guys have been on track from the end of practice to now, so I'm sure things have dried up and, quite honestly, probably not gotten any better. Probably a little more grippy this morning with a little more moisture on the track. So we'll see if Ronnie can put the bike into the top 3 right now. Yeah, he'll go third, 2:36.9, 14.5 seconds back for his first Downhill Southeast run of the season. Vlad Cheroublay out of Whistler, British Columbia. Man, this guy's a globetrotter. He just loves riding his bike fast in the best places to ride on the planet, and that's why he's here in the Southeast. Love to see Vlad back here. Wait a second. There were no pedals for Vlad out of the start gate. What is this? Is he just trying to get into the flow? Didn't even see a pedal to break the chain. So this could be an intentional chainless run for Vlad. Interesting strategy. Going to have to talk to him more about this after the race. We'll see what he can do at split 1. Barely any pedaling to be had after that start straight. You got to think it's going to be back a bit on Peterson. Okay, 7.99, so that's a starting point. What can Cheroublay do now that things are completely steep and deep, no more pedals required? Well, Vlad's riding loose, coming into the loosest section of the course. He was 3rd place at the Costa Rica Open. Oh, and look at the line. So just going just inside of that big rock pile, trying to straighten it out. Oh, drop more time, though. 9.7 back for Vlad. Oh, love the commitment on that gap right there. Things could get real spicy in that left-hander as we work our way through the order. Just a bit of a tripod right there. I don't think he needed it, though. So Vlad Cheroublay, he's going to break the beam, 2:33.13, 11 seconds off the pace.
Vlad taking the
And here is Dylan Conti. Conti out of Killington, Vermont, running for GT Bikes, Industry 9, Schwalbe, and Deity. Yeah, he's smiling real big because he's been having a great time on his bike so far this season. He was 6th place at the Costa Rica Open. He's also been coaching the junior riders at the Killington Mountain School, and his riders have certainly been performing so far this season. So let's see what Coach has as he comes out swinging on the top sections of the TTC. Oh yeah, good pace right there. You can tell if riders are able to gap over that rough section, that means they're really confident in their braking points and their traction as they come to the Cumberland Cliffs. Oh, and he's in touch. 2.96 back. And Conti's got some pride on the line this weekend. He's the defending Eastern States Cup champ from last year. So he's down here mixing it up with the boys from the Southeast. So you know he wants to bring home a good result. Trying to slither through these corners. I'm liking what I'm seeing there. Pretty tidy there for Dylan. And he slides just a little bit of time. Just under 4 seconds back. So on pace to take over the second spot if he can keep this up. Still really waiting for our first major challenger to that time of Jack Peterson. Oh, and he's pumping too. So Conti pumping something wrong. Oh, that derailleur is shattered.
He has no derailleur on his
Wow, derailleur gone. TTC claims another one, but still a great time there for Conti. Won't be enough to put him in the top 3 as we see Collier Key, who was our 3rd place seated rider from Saturday. This is a kid that is on a mission from Asheville, North Carolina. You can see the determination in his eyes, and look at the sprint off the top. These young guns, they only know full gas. Well, what can Collier do? He definitely has good experience for a young racer. He was our overall champion last year in the Cat 1 15-16s, but he does racing all over the country. The Key family loves to shred at some of the best spots in North America. Collier is up to split 1. What can he do today in these conditions? 5.21, so he's in 3rd right now. That's a good sign for Collier Key. He's just getting into this run, looking nice and loose. Stood up just a smidge in that right-hander, but plenty of gravity to get him back up the pace. And he'll just opt for the outside turn lines. Loving to see that back end just slither around. Split number 2 here. What will it be for Key? Did he pull back some time? No, he didn't. Lost more time. He's 7.41 back. He's still in 3rd place, though. So right now, Collier Key looking to bring it home safely. Maybe get a top 5 today. He's sitting in 3rd after split number 2. 2 more riders to go after Key. We've got Chris Grice and Nico Mullally, our top 2 seeded riders. So what can Collier do on the clock? Collier will cross the line in 6th place.
Takes over 6th place.
Chris Grice, here he is at a Pisgah Forest. Look, he's all smiles on that brand new, fresh demo for 2023, doing it for Generations Specialized. So Grice, he's 20 years old this year. I mean, he was the quintessential young gun for so many years here on the Southeast scene because he was just ripping by the time he was 13. 20 years old now, one of the more experienced riders on his Generation Specialized team. Not afraid to send it real hard into the Cumberland Cliffs. Love to see it. So split number 1 for Grice. Oh, and it's green. This is our first green split we've seen all race by just 0.28. Oh, and Grice riding the edges of the track right there. He was in the leaves trying to straighten out some lines. Tons of pace into these turns. Full commitment from Grice. Oh, and he's carrying great speed out of that last turn. You know, Chris is going to excel on a track like this where you've got a lot of gravity. Oh, and he's extended. 2 seconds up now on Jack Peterson, so it is a burner for Grice. And you knew he was going to gap into that. Chris is carrying incredible pace down here. Just one more turn, a little bit of a sprint to the finish. Could he extend that? It's going to be off the pace of yesterday, but I don't think you're going to have to go that fast today to take a win. And it's a 2:20. 2.6 seconds up on Jack Peterson for Chris Grice. That puts Grice in the hot seat with one rider to go. And here he is, Nico Mullally out of Pisgah Forest, North Carolina. Qualified 3 seconds faster than what we just saw Chris Grice put down. He's got a little smirk on his face, feeling pretty confident on that Frameworks rig. Already got a lot of miles on that bike this year so far. Took the win down in Costa Rica. So let's look as Nico gets into the meat of this track. Fog continuing to be heavy, so conditions same for all riders here. It's going to be a fair race. Nico with a lot more weight behind his bike than what we just saw from Chris Grice, so we'll see a little bit different characteristics on the bike under all that braking. Look at the split. He is right there with Grice, but he's in the red by 0.3, so nothing in it there for Mullally. He won the test event in November at Rock Creek. Grice was also on the podium there, but Mullally pipped him. Okay, good through the turns there. That was good from Nico. Didn't really see him getting loose, but that really is his style, just to keep it nice and composed. Oh, he let it go there off the road gap, but he's lost more time. So this is looking good for Chris Grice. It's all the way up to a second. That's the deficit Mullally has to make up. Really only 3 turns from here to the bottom. So can Nico pull something out of his bag of tricks here at the Trials Training Center? Good pace right there over that short flat. 2 more G-outs to the finish. And it won't be enough from Mullally. 3/10 outside the time of Chris Grice. 2:20.63. That's going to be second place for Mullally, and Grice knows it now. He's taken his first win here at Downhill Southeast, round number 1 in 2023. Nice way for Chris to start off his season with Generation Specialized, and you can see all the riders super stoked for him. We've been watching this kid shred and really grow up before our eyes, and there he is on the top step. Nico Mullally in second, and Jack Peterson with that heater of a run holding up for the final spot on our podium.
I didn't have the best qualies, and I kind of played it too safe, so I went to my race run just like wanting to push it, and I definitely pushed the limits in a couple spots, but I really needed this. It was like a great confidence boost for the start of the season. Course changed a lot. This morning in practice, I was having a blast. It was like conditions kind of similar to home in a way. It was like kind of slick, but you still had great grip. And then I went into my race run thinking it was going to be just like that, and like instantly like blew out a corner because I was like, oh my God, it got so muddy. The ruts were a bit more blown out, and yeah, it got a bit sketchier, but it was still really fun.
Yeah, unfortunately I couldn't make it to any of these Downhill Southeast races. I was in Europe most of the summer, just doing more races abroad, but I'm super hyped to make it to the first one and plan to come to a lot more later this year. Obviously I like these races, it's cool to see all the local faces and stuff, but coming here, getting a win at the first race of the year is perfect. I'm super happy. Yesterday it was super good, like prime conditions, dry, running great, and then we got a lot of rain last night, and then it just kind of stayed steady this whole morning. And then it just kind of progressively got worse and like stickier, so we had to like adapt a little bit and just kind of manage that. Field was pretty good. It was cool to have Nico here and some other like real fast local guys from Windrock in the southeast area. So yeah, pretty solid pro field.
Trying to get going first with our pro women's field.
that's going to do it for the SRAM Downhill Southeast crew here at the Trials Training Center, kicking off our 2023 season. What great racing we had. It was so good to see everybody back at the races, and we can't wait for round number 2 at Rock Creek, our first official Downhill Southeast race there in North Carolina's newest downhill shuttle park. That's going to be the weekend of April 14th through 16th. So go ahead and get registered when you see it open up on GoReggie.com, and we'll see you there at round number 2 of SRAM Downhill Southeast.